In July of this year, the Dove Outreach Center of Gainesville, Florida, announced it would be celebrating September 11th as International Burn a Koran Day. The non-denominational Christian church claims that their book burnings will celebrate the memory of those who died in the attacks 9 years ago while taking a stand against Islam. This is not the first time the Quran has been burned. The German writer Heinrich Heine referred to the Spanish Inquisition's burning of the Quran when he said in 1821, "Where they burn books, so too will they in the end burn human beings." In a prophetic twist of fate, Heine's own writings were subsequently among thousands of books torched by the Nazis a century later.
A society cannot grow in thought unless it has an awareness of the culture and beliefs of the people within it. When people vilify the religion of their neighbors without any realistic understanding of their neighbors' beliefs and practices, you get a situation that is reminiscent of witch hunts and heresy trials. Book burnings are not just rejections of minority viewpoints. They are rejections of the very awareness of those viewpoints. Though they are within your rights, book burnings are not symbolic of an open or informed society. Burning the Quran implies that all forms of Islam and all Muslims are inherently backward. The idea that all members of a population are fundamentally incapable of embracing peace and freedom is dehumanizing. This is the same attitude that the Nazi government projected about the Jews during the 1930s and 40s, and that is the direction our society will go in if we as individuals do not respond to such inflammatory acts as book burnings.
So in response to the Dove Center's International Burn a Koran Day, we would like to propose that September 11th of this year be International Read a Book Day. One need not read a Quran if one is not so inclined. Just read a book, any book. I, for one, take issue with the Dove Outreach Center's ridiculous claim that its book burnings will celebrate the memory of the victims of 9/11, as if the shameless throwing away of knowledge and dignity could somehow commemorate these fallen. Instead, we might start by reading a book about them. Firehouse, by David Habelstrom, follows the lives of 13 firemen who shared a station in West Manhattan, leading up to the day when 12 of them perished at the World Trade Center. The author explores their challenges, their commitment, and their shared life as servants of the public.
Contemporary perceptions of Islam remind me of how ancient Roman society perceived Christianity. Martyrs are very often the victims of misperception. So in commemoration of those victims, both past and present, I am reading The Christians as the Romans Saw Them.
Ray Bradbury's novel Fahrenheit 451 takes us into a world where all books are illegal and knowledge is tightly controlled. Guy Montag is a fireman, not the kind of fireman we know, but in this dystopian society, a secret policeman whose job is to raid people's homes and burn their books. His life continues in this fashion until he pauses to read one of the books that he is required to burn.
A religion is as it is practiced. If you want to know what Islam in America is like, then you have to get the perspective of a Muslim from America. And that's why I recommend The Muslim Next Door by Sumbul Ali Karamali. Like any book that is integral to a belief system, the Quran is up for interpretation. There are disturbing passages, there are puzzling passages, and there are passages that can inspire the reader to strive towards a higher standard of compassion and restraint.
My final book I'll be reading from this weekend is the Bible. It is the holy book of my faith, a book I have read many times and hold very near to my heart. It would hurt me greatly if anyone were to burn this book. Writing for the Washington Post, Jennifer Bryson says, "Since 9/11, many American Christians have been asking why Muslims who oppose Islamist radicalism don't do more to counter it." She goes on to suggest that today, American Muslims are asking the same question about Christians. Well, I am a Christian, and let me say that I am profoundly ashamed of the Dove Outreach Center. The center's actions are motivated by contempt and fear. As the very date of their book burning indicates, they are fearful of the Muslims and of the terror they have come to represent in some circles. But if I may quote a book that is dear to me, God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
We cannot distill our ideas of decency to the bare bones minimum required by the law. If we wait for obligation to compel us to value the individual and to realistically perceive those who are different from us, then those bare bones protections that the law requires may wither away. We can actively work towards an open and informed society, or we can be complacent to paranoia and tribalism. I choose the former, and so I invite you to join us in reading a book this September 11th. I'd prefer it to be a good book, but it can be a bad book. Just read a book.